know what happens when you breed with your cousins over and over and over again?
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. It is a descendant of the original fish that sold for $250,000.
Who's a good fish? Who's such a good fish?
$15,000 for that ugly blob of a brown fish. The rarest fish. You know how much that sold for? $250,000. I know this because I accidentally bought one.
Should sell it.
You can see right through its gill structure. And that fish has got a super cool personality when it's awake. If I want to gain access to any part of the tank, I can literally slide the entire light canopy out. The weight of this aquarium, 14 tons. She was for sale for $15,000. Remember Odie?
Nope.
Do you remember him in the basement here?
No.
Remember that?
Nope.
Ever heard of white tank treatment, Nick?
No.
Okay, how long have we lived together? All right, you guys. My wife is here with me. And she's so thrilled. She hates being in these. Nick, could you go stand by that once? This aquarium is 15 feet long. It's 5 feet from the front glass to the back glass. Okay, Vanna White. And it's 30 some inches tall. It houses arguably one of the rarest fish, singular, in the world. The species is really common, but this one particular fish has never been found ever. And there was one that was similar found but different in Japan. And you know how much that sold for?
No.
$250,000.
You should sell it.
She's so supportive. So today we're going to be looking at not only the fish, but then we're going to go behind the scenes and we're going to take a look at the filtration room and how I was able to build a 1,700-gallon aquarium on the main floor of the house, which was the really tricky part. So without wasting any more time, let's do... Should we do all of it?
Sure, yeah.
Boom! That was sold as a platinum gar for $3,400. After it got in my tank, it started to turn into a normal gar. Long story short, don't buy fish from Japan sight unseen. This entire half of the house was built just for the aquarium. I literally calculated this part of the house to be able to withstand and hold up to the weight of a semi being parked on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when you look right there, the house ended right here. We had the aquarium in the basement, right? Do you remember that?
No.
We didn't have this aquarium in the basement, but we had a 220-gallon and 150-gallon aquarium. That's my point, guys. She never went down to visit them. Ever, 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 ever. I would sit down there lonely hours. I felt like a bachelor in the basement. Every guy's got their aquarium in the basement because it's too much weight. So underneath this entire floor, this is a full basement. But right here over, that's built like the garage in a heavy equipment manufacturing warehouse. So let's talk about this. Here we've got a Cuban gar, another gold gar. That's a gold gar. Again, a rare fish, but not exceptionally rare. Bluegrass Aquatics was selling her. I say her because that's a female. They say you can't sex gars unless you live with them.
Okay.
That's a female. The two real gold ones are males. But what happened with this girl? She was for sale for $15,000 for that ugly blob of a brown fish.
What?
And we got her. That was Odie. Do you remember Odie?
Nope.
Odie was gold and calico colored. And some people think, oh, calico colored gold gars are so cool. But in reality, they have a bigger tendency to go back to plain Jane, ugly old gars. So that is a $15,000 brown blob right there. So she still holds the gold gene. So if I ever could get these gars to breed, I'd want her to breed with the two main gold ones. Let's talk about the scam. Have you ever heard of white tank treatment, Nick?
No.
Okay, how long have we lived together? I know all about your work. I know how many.
You don't.
No,
you never even stay in the same room when I'm talking about it.
I do too.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, sure.
sit there. I can sit there. I do. I sit there, you guys.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about white tank treatment. That's where they take a gar like this one and put it in a white tank. And what happens is that gar will eventually turn white. And a white gar is 50 times more valuable than a plain gar.
See, you've never told me this.
Okay, so a white gar will sell for about 3,500 bucks. These foreigners that raise fish sell them to Americans after they've been white tank treated. They host pictures and they know.
That's smart.
I know this because I accidentally bought one.
Quit buying these things.
I'm done. All right, you guys. That stingray right there alone. Hey Nick, you know how long it took me to get that stingray? It took me 7 years to get that boesemani. So when I got it, I got 4 of them. That's not the rare fish. All right, so let's look at this one while he's out. This is actually a really super rare fish, believe it or not. That is a miniature king henley eye, full grown adult male, disc size 8 to 10 inches, which is tiny. It would typically be this big.
It's this big and it's full grown.
So it's dwarfed, which is kind of highly sought after in the aquarium trade. Do you guys see that spotted gar right down there? Not Odie. Odie, get out of here. That was sold as a platinum gar for $3,400, and it didn't take more than 2 or 3 days after it got in my tank. It started to turn into a normal gar. So this fish, which is a true white, this is called a snow alligator gar, technically considered a platinum, but it is a descendant of the original fish that sold for $250,000. And what happened is the guy that bought the original then bred it with its cousins over and over and over again. Something's wrong. Exactly. So when you look at this guy, he looks like a big fat white dolphin. And here comes my ugly deformed platinum alligator gar, but I still like him. He looks like a big fat dolphin. He's not a very nice fish, you guys. You know why that fish is so fat? If I didn't keep him fat, he'd eat the other ones. Because he's tried. Nothing nice about that fish. He's kind of mean, but he's happy when he's full.
Who's a good fish? Who's a good fish?
The rarest fish in the world will come out, and I'll catch. It's called the translucent gar. And the stingray's on him right now, on her. So the translucent gar is the only gar in the world that you can actually see through its scales. It's not an albino. Albino will have red eyes. This actually only has one eye because it got plucked out by something. I don't know what happened. It's got one eye. So here is the rarest fish. That's the eye it's missing, by the way, in case you were wondering. I am a fish freak. There's its head. You can see right through its head. Look at that, you guys. God, that is so cool. That fish is insanely awesome in every way that the word awesome could ever be interpreted for being awesome. Look, you guys can see right through its gills. There's never been a gar that you could see through its gills like that. That's insane. That fish is I just love that fish. If it only had a spiritual spirit. Let's go into the filtration room. This is where things get a lot of fun, guys. So the filtration room, I'll let you take a look around, is mostly done by plants, hydroponics. There's zero chemical filtration in this room at all. All of the nitrates, ammonia, potassium, and all of the other undesirable elements are taken care of by these things. With hydroponics, it's really easy to do it, but you've got to have a super large mass of plants. The water itself has to be relatively clean. Because I'm literally taking the particulate matter out of the water column, trapping it in a medium, and then removing that. And that allows the roots of the plants to grow and flourish. And as those roots grow and flourish, they're doing 100% of the rest of the filtration. So with hydroponics, it's a two-step process. Mechanical separation of detritus from the water column, and then you allow the plants to do all of the chemical, which there's no chemicals involved, chemical or natural filtration. I change the water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Water from the tap come into this settling chamber, and then it's drip fed into the main sump. Water's pumped up to this tank. This is also a settling chamber. Gravity feeds into the main tank. The main tank then uses a waterfall to aerate the water as it's coming down. There's a pump on the other end of the tank that aims at the front, so you get this circular motion with the water column as it fills up, then overflows here back into the main sump, and as this gets too full, it dumps into my wash base without ever getting our hands dirty. Water coming out of the tap isn't appropriate to go right into the aquarium. 12-part pre-filtration before it goes into the main chamber. This is the secret to being able to put a 14-ton tank on the main floor of the house. There's no basement under this part. For heating and cooling, it's all done in this concrete. And I actually use a hot water heater. So I use in-floor radiant heat and control this room separately from the rest of the house. Something like one of these electric plug-in heaters, my bill would be way too astronomical high. Up here, this actually is the entire lighting system. It all slides out away from the aquarium. It's on garage door rails. I can then crawl into the tank and do any maintenance that I want to do. This is the simplest setup in the last. This tank has been running for 14 or 15 years. It was like $700 a month. Just on the electric bill when this was saltwater. Saltwater aquarium, this cost me about $3,000 a month. As a freshwater aquarium, it probably cost us about $300 a month. We also have 168 plugins. I sat and wired every single one of these banks. Over on the wall, we've got 2 switches. One switch takes excess heat outside when we need it, and the other one recirculates it to the inside of the house. It's about as simple and cheap and efficient as you can potentially run an aquarium and still have something you enjoy. I tell you that some guy offered me 20 grand for one of my gold gars.
And you said no?
Because he was in India. Yeah, I'm gonna fly it. He's not gonna pay me, and then he's gonna murder me, and I'm gonna be dead in India. Hope this video's helped you guys out. I know it's a ton of information. God bless, and a big thank you to my wife for agreeing to come on. She had to put her face on.
I didn't get to put my face on. I did wash my face.
Oh, and tell me one other thing. Did you like this? Do you want me to do another one? I can go. Well, I can tell you a lot more about this system. It took me forever to build it. Like the aquarium itself, how I built the aquarium. You guys tell me in the comments down below. God bless you guys, and go get them. Oh, and watch these videos. You know what happens when you breed with your cousins over and over and over again?
No. Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Exactly.